Good morning, class, and welcome to Unit 4 for English 100. Hope you're doing well and hope you're having a good Monday so far. I wanted to spend a little time just going over our final unit. It's a research unit, but it does have some specific aspects that I think we need to pay attention to. So I'm going to point out that, first of all, this is a very long unit. There's chapter 6, which is focusing on research, chapter 7, which is how to integrate argument into research, because this paper isn't just informative, it also is argumentative in nature. Then chapter 8 is thinking about emotion. Chapter 9 is about credibility and ethos in argument. Chapter 14 is about style, so we're really going to focus on making our sentences strong. Then grammar and quizzes, so we still have some grammar stuff to go over. And finally, here's our main series of assignments. So we have summaries of sources and then the research essay assignment. So I'm going to show you a little bit about the research essay and kind of break down a little bit. This is kind of a cumulative assignment, so we're building on things we've done. We are going to continue to summarize, assess, and respond to ideas that we come across in written arguments. But for this, instead of just going off of things I provide, you're going to spend quite a bit of time finding and integrating ideas from sources that you find, okay? What I've done is develop 4 different potential topics that you can use. Instead of just saying, go find something and figure it out, I've narrowed it down to 4 different topics. The first is AI and its impact on society. So kind of building on what we did in Unit 3, there's a lot more to say about AI and how it's changing all the time. The second possibility is violence in media. The third is ethics of true crime. So thinking about, is true crime able to be ethical and entertaining and compelling all at the same time? And then things that are happening outside of our borders in the wars, either in Ukraine or Israel, Palestine. Those are things that I think are important and could be paid attention to. So the trick is to kind of start to narrow these topics down, okay? And that's going to be the first challenge. What I've provided here are links to articles that I think help start to take interesting approaches. So the first one is thinking about how, there's a lot of discussions around AI and copyright right now. So intellectual property and who owns what and how AI kind of takes original content and uses it for the AI results. So if you're generate an AI image that's drawing from a bunch of other images out there on the web, or if you're presenting a piece of generative AI writing that's actually just taking a bunch of information from other pieces of writing. And so that brings a lot of complications with copyright. The second one is an article about John Wick and the revenge film and how that's a specific film genre and what the ways in which John Wick fits into that. Also thinking about how violence in video games and movies is often used as a scapegoat for real violence. True crime is something that's been very popular, especially with podcasts, documentaries, the Dahmer series, things like that, dramatizations of actual events. And so it's compelling stuff, but it's also problematic in some ways in terms of how these things are presented, right? And the people that actually had to live through this stuff and see that represented on screen or in a podcast. So what do we want to say about that? What can we find out about that? And then finally, what's going on in the world outside of our borders, Ukraine, Israel, Gaza. These things are overseas, international, but they also have a big impact on our own policies and the way that we live our lives. and maybe even people we know are impacted directly. Okay. So choose one of these topics, whichever you feel the most interest in, and you can use one of these articles as a kind of starting point to help guide you, but you will still need to find at least 4. If you use the article that I've provided, you'll still have to provide 4 original articles of your own. Okay. And you don't have to use mine. So if you don't use mine, you'll have to find 5. Okay. But the trick is going to be to start to narrow it down and start to think about, well, what do I want to say about this topic? What approach? Because AI is huge. Copyright issues are just one aspect of it. Violence in media, you could think about movies, TV, you could think about video games. There's so many ways you can take it. True crime, what aspect are we looking at? Are we looking at podcasts, dramatizations? Why do people like this stuff, etc., etc. So you have to kind of start to narrow it down. And then you'll be thinking about a 5 to 6 page paper. You'll need a thesis, informative and persuasive, very, very important. Making sure that you're connecting all of your sources, not just kind of here's a bunch of information. Okay, you'll need a works cited page, and you'll really need to get a lot of that together as you start to formulate your ideas. Okay. The other thing that I want to point out that will help you is to think about the upcoming focused research topic, which is due this weekend. So what I want you to try to do is by Saturday, choose the topic you plan to work with for your essay and start to take it and narrow it down. Okay, so here's an example for how you go from kind of general to specific. It's dealing with solar energy, but you can see how much more specific it gets as it goes to the 5th iteration, right? Obviously, I don't want you to deal with solar energy because I've provided the 4 topics I want you to choose from, but the idea is the same. You take it and it's very general and very broad, and then you narrow it down step by step, okay? So that's the first step. And I think after you've spent some time thinking about the topic, how you want to narrow it down, that will help you start to get ready to find some sources. You can use, for finding sources, you'll be using Google, obviously. The MiraCosta library databases are also good because they are a little more narrow and they don't make you kind of confront the millions of results you'll find on Google. But I'll send some more videos kind of going over that next week, okay? Or later this week. But that's it for now. I just want to touch base. It's already at 8 minutes, so I'll stop there. And I thank you and happy hunting. And again, choose a topic that you're actually interested in because it will help push you and keep you interested in the next month or so. Okay? Take care. Bye.